Hey, it's the Brian and Kindra Show. Welcome. We're going to be talking more about this buyer broker stuff, but we're really going to get into the home buyer stuff.
Yeah, if you guys could see this before we start, whenever I'm like about to say, I want to, Brian always interrupts me and immediately he's like, hey, it's the Brian and Kindra Show. You're like, not going to let her.
No, don't distract me anymore. What were we talking about?
So today is August 29th.
August 29th.
So we've been playing our buyer broker agreement game since, solid, because we'd already been practicing. Yep. But since August 17th, we've been having to do our buyer broker agreements. I'm sure when you covered the microphone that nobody could hear you sniffling.
No, probably not.
I think you're fine.
Yep.
Don't worry about it at all.
Just Nathan.
Nathan didn't cringe a bit. That's not true. Okay, anyway. Oh, excuse me. It must be catchy.
Yeah. It's not allergies or nothing like that.
Anyway.
So I'm in Dallas is where I'm at.
Oh, are you in Dallas right now? So that means I'm working by myself.
Yep.
Oh, man,
Quiet
I'm earning
office.
that vacation I'm about to have.
Nobody's here.
That's true. You're taking, like our office is now divided. I'm like scratching my nose and everything. The video people, bless your hearts. So our office is now like divided. Not divided like emotionally, man, we are a strong family. But we've got like the young ones.
And the old ones.
And the less young ones. Thanks, Nathan. Here's our Kleenexes. This is great. But we're not going to actually blow our noses on the air, Brian. Okay. All right. So anyway, so you and the young ones, like the more young ones.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
I wonder if they can keep up.
I know, right?
They have no idea. Some of them have no idea. Actually, none of them have no idea, do they?
No, they really don't.
And Nathan, he knows not how to ride a scooter yet, but we'll get practice one more time.
Yeah, if you go somewhere fun, I'm in. All right.
Order scooters.
Oh, not right now. You're not.
Okay.
Okay, cool. All right. So anyway, what are you going to be learning about in your conference at the end of August?
I'm assuming buyer broker agreements.
Well, I hope so.
Because that's what all they're going to be talking about. So real quick, let's just get it out on the table.
Get it back out there.
Buyer broker agreements. As of August 17th, they're wanting us to require all realtors to be signing buyer broker agreements when you enter a house. So obviously there's still millions of questions. Because how about if we just don't go in the house? You still have to sign something? No, so we're getting way off topic. I'm not going to do that.
That's the intent, though.
Let's just keep it simple. There's multiple kinds of agreements. The majority of them are going to be one, you're going to sign an agreement because you love us and we love you, and you know we're the ones that are going to help you. And you're going to sign a long-term agreement. So that's number one. Number two is a shorter-term agreement.
Like you don't know us yet, and we want the opportunity to show you who we are so that we can earn your business.
Like you come out, we show you a house, you buy a house, it's shorter. So one's like a 6-month or a year contract. Right. One of them's 30 days. And then even if you're like an open house and you want to just look at one house and what's the one, that's a shorter, really short agreement. Like, hey, I'm going to sign a 30-day or whatever agreement on this one house, basically. But it's really based on time. So it's not really a one house type deal. But we're going to, and again, we're going to see more and more details unfold. And as all of the agents instantly on one day, everybody is now required because I showed a house that's 3 houses this morning. And I'm like, I should have a buyer broker agreement. Bigger
than that even is like, so we're recording this on August 13th. Yeah. So to be completely real, upfront, honest, to make sure you understand where we're coming from here. As of today, the document that is on the platform that we use to type our contracts is still not even up to date. Like there's already a newer copy of the buyer broker agreement that's been submitted by the Oklahoma Real Estate Commission. Yep. So for us, even to remain in compliance with the most updated documents is a challenge.
Yes.
Like yesterday I was trying to figure out how to get this onto this platform so it would be easily fillable. And frankly, it's just not, boss. I'm going to need some help. Okay. But there's just so much that is going into this. But there's 2 things I think are most important. One, the agreements are designed so that we can help you best. I mean, that's really what's in it, so that there can be the most upfront honesty, integrity, and information. So everybody has the same amount of information. I know that you're doing this. I'm going to pay you to do this, or else you're going to try to seek compensation otherwise. But we've agreed on what that looks like. 2, I know that you've signed with me, so I know that you're also going to allow me the time to help you find the thing that you're wanting the most like, you see what I'm saying? Like, before you didn't sign anything as a buyer, so you could be shopping with 6 different realtors. It's really not the best idea. And it really created some issues. But now it really helps us to truly develop this business relationship with you where we can really help you the best. Most importantly, please, buyer, make sure you're not signing agreements with every realtor in town that overlap one another. Like, you kind of make sure your paperwork with one is ended before you begin the other one, or else, I mean, you could potentially have liability to pay 2 different agents whenever you buy your house with one of them.
Yes.
Man, it gets tricky.
Yes,
so we just really, we keep harping on this, really, because we want you to be safe and secure in the documents that you sign, right?
Yep.
But I am excited about this. I feel like this will really allow us to have an upfront conversation where we can immediately really get to the hard stuff and be able to know one another best so that we can help you the best. That's what I'm excited about.
Yep, I like it.
That's what I think is going to happen. I mean, I live in a world of rainbows and sunshine, and so I'm sure that's how this is going to play out.
It's going to be easily complicated. Okay.
Okay. All right. So do you want to talk about?
Let's talk about it.
Some mistakes that home buyers are making.
Home buyers are making.
Okay. Well, you go first.
Okay. So you're buying your biggest investment expense that you will probably ever buy, and it's your home. I heard a guy last night saying, "Oh, I'm going to mess that up. I better not say that." Okay, I'm not going to say it. I can't remember. And so,
look
sorry
at that,
about that,
guys.
I can't remember.
Brian thought before he spoke. I'm working on it too.
Yeah. And so, mistakes that are made. So they're buying the biggest thing they're buying, and it's not like you're just going to bounce out and buy a new shirt or go buy some new shoes at Browns or go buy some whatever. I think some people take more time picking out their shoes than their house.
Okay, well, I mean, if you're talking to me, yes.
See? So
that was a quote of the week. Kindra and shoes in the same sentence gives me anxiety. I said, honey, you should be me.
So again, it comes back to, it's the biggest thing you do. Let's invest a little time and make sure that you're not making any big mistakes. So we're going through the biggest mistakes. Number 1 is not being pre-approved.
I don't know how many times we've talked about this and how much more we can, but I think this is so hugely valuable. You really want to know what you're really qualified for, or if you're not. The worst thing that can happen, and really we haven't had a lot of these, but we have gotten all the way, and this is actually a little bit different than getting pre-approved, but like even a pre-qualification, am I saying the terms right? Because sometimes I get those backward, you know that.
Pre-qual, just your basic information in, and basically what you've told me, you're qualified.
So when we start with those, it has actually happened that we've gotten all the way to 2 weeks before closing of a really long contract, and then doggone it, the buyer really wasn't ever approvable. So a true pre-approval where they actually pull your credit, they actually look at your funds, they actually look at your tax returns, they look at your bank statements, and get you truly pre-approved before we even shop is the most beautiful way to go. We know that that's hard. We know that that takes a little bit more time, and we know that it feels like you're going to miss out, but long-term, I think it saves all the heartache in the world.
Yep.
And we've got some great lenders that are able to do that, and we absolutely love that. It's really nice to be able to have a lender who can take your information and say, based off of what you've said, I can say that you're pre-qualified for this amount, and get it done really fast so we can start shopping. That's cool. What's cooler is to know that when you get to your contract that you're ready, set to go, and they're actually going to be waiting on the title work to be done and not waiting on you to be done.
Yep.
Like, that's stinking awesome. Pre-approval gives everyone an expectation of what's to come and the security that it's going to get finished. Right?
Yep. Yes.
All right. Next.
So it also,
sorry.
part of that pre-approval is you miss stuff. If you're not ready and the house hits the market, that's your dream house, and somebody else is qualified and you're not, you're out more than likely. So I want to make that point.
I will say this. Well, and I keep thinking about one of our buyers. She messaged not very long ago because her air conditioner had messed up. And that buyer, man, I was proud of her. She was one of my kids from a long time ago. And now she's this precious young adult. And she had told me, hey, I'm almost ready. Hey, I'm almost ready. Hey, I'm almost ready. And finally I said, okay, what is the hang up that you keep being almost ready? And she said, well, I'm pre-qualified with this lender, but he says I need to do this, this, and this. And so I've been working on it and da-da-da-da-da. Well, what loan type? So I finally look into her stuff. I call the lender and I'm like, not feeling great about it, and have her call a different lender. And that's why the first guy was absolutely not a local guy. So don't think that I'm like picking on any local people. Not at all. She calls the second lender who says, okay, we just need to do one more thing and you're going to be pre-approved. And then we bought the house in a couple months. Like, it was so much of a smoother transaction. He got her a better loan type for her and really took some ease off of her because she was really panicking. I've got to save this much more money to be able to do the loan that this guy is telling me I should do. It was not the best loan type for her. Like, you've got to get pre-approved with the lender that really, really is interested. The same with a realtor. Like, you've got to find somebody who's interested in you and in what is best for you and not just getting you sold.
Right.
Like, right?
Yeah, some of them are just, how many people can I get through my system today?
We've worked a couple transactions recently with a different lender than what we had worked with before. We'd worked with her one time before, but these last two, we had a couple just right in a row. And she said, when she saw us out somewhere and she said, I have to give you a hug. And I thought, cool, I love hugs. She said, I appreciate you so much because you view your customers as people and not just as a sold. And it kind of took me back. Like, I'm so sad that she felt like
It's sad.
I'm so sad that was even something that she recognized. Honestly, I think I assumed all people did that. So it kind of broke my heart. So get pre-approved with the lender that also sees you as a people and wants what's best for you.
Yep.
Okay. Holding out for perfection. Okay, this one's tricky because this is saying that this is a mistake. But my buddy Mike at On Point Land Survey, I don't know what just happened to my words, but they got lost. Yes, I'm sorry, On Point Land Survey. Mike would actually say, if you can, do hold out for perfection. So this one's tricky. This depends on you and where you're at in your search, right?
Yes.
Like, if you've got all the time in the world and you know this is what I want and you're comfortable waiting, for him, it was years. If you're comfortable waiting years to find what's perfect, then wait for years to find what's perfect. However, if you're kind of in a time constraint and you know that you really need to get your house before that baby hits the ground, or
you're moving to town and there's not any options, you just rent or buy.
I mean, there's all these different scenarios, but if you know you don't have any time, then you can't wait for perfection, especially not here.
Can I say my quote?
No, I hate it so much. Say it.
Sometimes when I get people to Woodward and I can tell they're getting highly frustrated with the housing options in Woodward. I tell them, sometimes in Woodward you have to buy the house you hate the least. If you love the house in Woodward, I tell you to jump all over it and don't hesitate. Move. And I'm not a big sell. No. I'm going to help you make your decision. But like we had, the Casters.
Right.
When we were selling their house, it was like, hey, when you find the house you love, you buy.
Yes.
And we had stumbled through 2 or 3 offers and 2 or 3 contracts and trying to figure out a house. But when that one hit, we both set reminders to call each other the next morning because it was like 10 o'clock at night when it hit.
Can I share the opposite, though, of the buyer that purchased their home? Is that okay to kind of touch on that?
Yeah.
The opposite was their buyer had actually told us that they had found a house that they absolutely loved. And somebody in their sphere had really talked them out of that house that they loved. And they moved on. And then the other house was purchased before they came back and wanted to make an offer. And they were kind of heartbroken.
Just wait. It'll come way down in price. Then you can buy it.
And it didn't come way down in price. It sold quickly.
Multiple offers.
And it sold well.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the other part is, man, you don't really ever know what's going to happen.
Yep.
And so you got to be ready and prepared, and which goes back to the pre-approval. But I mean, like, if you love it, get your offer on. Get your offer on. All right, buying more house than they can afford. This is one that bothered me from the beginning.
Which I think goes back to this other one too. People buying more house than you can afford. They start looking here.
Yeah.
And there's not enough selection and they can't be patient. So they keep going up in the price range. Now they're way out of range.
And I think sadly, whenever we do this, sometimes when we're looking I don't want to say this and hurt anybody's feelings, and I don't want anybody to feel like they're being picked on, but if you keep looking at houses outside of your range and making lowball offers, you are going to end up sad. Like, our market is not dead. We're still selling about 95% of the listing price.
I haven't checked that in a while, but depends.
I thought you had been checking. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, some of those, it comes back to the pricing strategy of the other agents as well.
Without a doubt.
So some people have this, hey, let's negotiate a bunch, and some are, hey, I want to price it so it sells fast.
So if you're not sure what your offer should be, ask your agent to help you with a comparative market analysis. And maybe not even just the full written thing, but just ask them, hey, what are some comps for this house? And generally, we can very quickly off the top of our head go, well, we saw da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
You can kind of do this on your own too, though. You sent something to the group last night that was really, I don't know if that was last night or this morning. It was there when I woke up this morning. I don't know when you sent it, but kind of like it's just kind of like a little spreadsheet. And it was like, of the houses that you've looked at and their price and their amenities. And you can, when you start putting them down, you can kind of compare them and go, oh, well, this one actually looks to be of good value based on what this one looked like, what this one looked like, what this one looked like.
Yep.
So some of that, you kind of can do on your own, but we are happy to give you the sold comps too, to help you to really make a decision. So buying more house than you can afford. If you are approved, I'll never forget this. Like, I know we always go back to our personal stories and I only have 7, but whenever my ex-husband and I moved back to Woodward, we were approved he sent me the approved letter, and I think back then, prices are different then. I think it was like $140,000, which was out of this world for me. I remember going, you're out of your mind. We're not shopping that high. Like, I did all of our money. Yeah. And I think, come to find out.
Back when the lenders were like, no doc loans?
I think my ex-husband gave him some information that was not correct. Because later when we got into our thing, the lender, whenever he goes, oh, God, you're not really approved for that. I'm like, I know. Okay, so here we are. But I really felt like our max was probably 110 back then. Mm-hmm. But that was not where I was comfortable. Like, I legit said, what's my payment here? What's my payment here? What's my payment here? And I said, well, this down here is where I know I can make happen. Even if things get bad, I know I can probably squeak this out. There's no way I could have made this one work, especially not that crazy number. I remember I laughed. I laughed in his face like a jerk. I didn't mean to. It was so comical to me. All that to say, you have to really think where that's going to fit and recognize as a homeowner, especially if you've not been one before, that now all that maintenance stuff, it's on you.
Oh, man.
So we're renting out, not we, my daughter is having a property manager rent out her property. She's had a tenant for 6 or 8 months.
Yes.
Of those 6 or 8 months, there's been at least 4 things go wrong. Listen, y'all, my baby girl lived in that house for over a year, close to 2, I think.
With nothing.
And I think we only had to fix one thing. I'm trying to think if we had to fix one thing one time, Sissy and I. Like, that's all I can think of. Right. And then, so you got to remember that as a homeowner, things are going to go wrong. You're going to have to fix your dryer. You're going to have to fix your refrigerator. You're going to have to fix your air conditioner. You're going to have to fix your plumbing.
Repairs aren't predictable.
The repairs are not
all
predictable.
Come in a weekend.
It could.
We have proof.
As I've told you, it could be all 4 things all in one weekend.
Yep.
So you really want to make sure that you don't max out your budget with your payment. So shop in that part that you can actually afford.
Right, which is a great reason to come meet with us. Love budgets.
You are way good at budgets.
I want to sit down and be like, so I have a guy that I
I'm about ready to hand you mine.
Yeah, I can meet with a guy every couple of days. And he's a business guy trying to get from, day-to-day work to ahead so he can invest. And we run ideas all the time. And there's a lot of the times I'm like, I think this is the truck I need to buy. And we go over the numbers and I'm like, listen, right. This is not the truck for you. It fits you. It's what you really want. Right. But we need to find something over here in this price range. And so I'm good at that. I don't mind doing it. I kind of like doing it. So, and that's one of those deals when we get to do these buyer broker agreements. Our goal is to sit down with you and be like, okay, here's the things you want in a house. Here's the things you have to have, your non-negotiables, your wants and your needs. We get those, and then we go over your budget and make sure that we don't want you calling us and saying, hey, I'm upside down. I've got one of them right now and it makes me sick.
Right.
They're complicated. Families are involved. Moving out of a house because you have to is very stressful on the family. Financial debt is a stress on a family. We don't want any of that. We want you to be able to travel and go and buy Christmas presents and birthday presents and enjoy life and not be anchored to your house.
Right.
So we say all that. We want you to meet with you. Go over those numbers.
Okay. Not working with a local real estate agent. This can be a mistake a buyer makes.
It's a big time mistake.
So just touch on it really quick, because we just had it felt like one of the world's worst transactions, which, I mean, that's a little exaggeratory. It would have been if you had not been the other agent. I really believe that. So kind of lay it out real simple without too much detail.
I mean, if I'm going to another town, I'm hiring a real estate agent. I know what I'm doing. I don't care. The professional selling thousands of homes in Woodward,
Yep.
am not going to hire I'm going to hire a real estate agent to buy the next one.
So you actually just hired a realtor to sell your house in a different community. Did you do that with a referral?
No.
Or do they get all their commission?
I just told her to list it. She asked me, I'm like, I'm not negotiating. I don't want you to either.
Okay. And that's not a right or wrong answer. Just
Right.
FYI, if you need to sell something in a different community and you want your agent to have a referral for finding that for you, fine, go ahead. There have been times though that I have sent a buyer to somebody and they've said, how much referral do you want? And sorry, boss, I said none, because I really want you to treat them like they're your daughter. It's really important to me. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that another agent would not, but I just know how important it is to have somebody local who knows what's happening in that market, who can really, really educate buyers and sellers. Mm-hmm. And so the flip side of that is when you're shopping here with an agent from not this area, you're probably going to be given false information.
You're missing.
So this goes two ways. One, sometimes they tell you, oh my gosh, that is so cheap. You should pay full price. And all the local agents are like, oop. Because all the local agents know that is not cheap. That was overpriced by another out-of-town agent. And we are cringing thinking about you taking on a property that you overpaid for. Mm-hmm. The flip side of that is another agent coming in and going, this is outrageous. This 1980s house should not be selling for this price. And we're going, buddy, in Woodward, 1980 is like 2000. Let's be real.
That's what you get.
So you really need to get an agent that knows the market and can help to educate you in the market so that you can make the best decisions.
You also miss about 30% of the market.
Ain't that the truth?
Because so 30% of our stuff we sell never hits the market.
Right. Not on purpose,
Not
FYI.
on purpose.
Like some of it is even
some of it says, hey, Brian, I want to buy and they give me a list and I go find it.
Well, and even like the other day, you brought up a minute ago the casters. Like we had taken pictures on July 3rd. Mm-hmm. We were going to make it active on July 5th, I think. Yep. You called me you texted me July 4th with your little, what are you doing? Yeah. And I'm like, I know what this means. I'm like, listen, I am literally getting out of the pool and I am not leaving my house, but I will type you something. You said, I need a contract for da-da-da-da-da. And I said, oh, heck, well, that means I got to list it first.
Yep.
So I had to send them all the listing documents and the contract at the same stinking time. Because that's how it worked. Like you knew this is coming on the market. We can't wait another day. These people are only here for July 4th. I got to get it showed. Da-da-da-da-da. Like sometimes it just works that way.
Yep.
Okay. But if you're working with somebody who's not local, they wouldn't know.
They never. No one else got a shot at that house.
Unfortunately for them, but fortunately for our buyer. Okay.
Yep.
There was one I wanted to say, falling in love with staging.
Oh, wow.
This is for people who are like me and are like, look at all the pretty colors.
Pretty.
That's shiny. I like it. You got to really make sure that you're looking past the furniture, that you're looking past the paintings, that you're looking past the puppy. Let's be real. I have been so distracted by dogs lately. Oh my gosh, that I can't see the forest for the trees. You got to make sure that you're really seeing the house. And this goes back to having the right agent.
Yep.
So the right agent is going to be able to help you. Yeah, that's a beautiful couch. It looks really great in that spot. Would your couch fit in that spot? Let's pretend like this couch isn't there. Does your couch fit? Like you need somebody to help you to really hone in on the actual property. Ooh, I see a little bit of cracked and peeling paint. That could be an issue with your loan type. Oh, I just saw this, that, or the other. Did you notice it? You got to make sure that you're seeing more than just what's pretty. You really need to know about the bones of the house.
Yeah.
All right. Which one did you see?
Skipping the home inspection. That's never a good deal.
We encourage it every time. It's generally not required, but we always encourage it.
I can tell you 7 times that I haven't done it, and I regret it.
Well, right now we're literally selling 2 houses that to the people that have been living in the houses for years. They know more about the house than the owner does. Mm-hmm. And both of them I said, so generally at this point in our contract, we do inspections, but you live in your house. So do you want to do an inspection? And they're like, no, lady, you're weird. But I'm still offering it because it's actually very important. Now, for them, it's probably silly. But by golly, I'm like, if you don't do it now, you should do it in a little bit because then you can start fixing all those things.
I'll probably go ahead and do it because at some point you got to sell that house.
Well, at some point, I'm going to have to fix those things. If I know about them now, it's going to be easier than later when it's really created an issue.
Yep.
Okay, so don't skip your home inspection. Really fast, don't ignore the future real estate sale value. And we kind of talked about that a minute ago whenever I was talking about working with a local agent. But this was always a question. This actually is the hardest question that I've received whenever I did most of the showings for myself. Hey, is this going to increase in value? And my answer was always, honestly, I don't know. Like, I have no idea because I don't know what the next market's going to look like. So in theory, yes, this house is priced appropriate for today's market and it should appreciate over time. Mm-hmm. The problem is in Woodward, it might take 10 or 15 years to appreciate over time. Yeah. Am I wrong?
It is. Sometimes they just don't quite move as fast.
But it's still, that's the question you want to ask. Like, hey, I feel like I might be paying top dollar for this. Do you think I'll ever get it back? I have a friend who says this every time I'm at their house. He says, did I ever pay for my house? And every time I say, do you love your house? Because if you love it and you paid it, then you didn't overpay.
Are you selling it?
If you want to sell it tomorrow, we might end up with a little bit of hurt. Right. Also, are you going to sell it tomorrow? No, because I love my house. Okay, then you didn't pay. Yeah. You didn't overpay. You're fine. I really believe that 100%. Okay. Understanding your additional cost. Y'all, it is expensive to borrow money. Let me just say it again. It is expensive to borrow money. We always just think it's just going to be the interest, and it's not. There are so many additional costs that come when you are borrowing money. That mortgage company has things that they have to do to cover themselves. That costs money. They also need to get paid for their work. That costs money. They need you to prepay different things. For example, your homeowner's insurance. My homeowner's insurance on my little tiny cute house went from $1,300 to like $1,900 in a year. That's a chunk of money that I have to prepay if I am going to be purchasing a home. So you really just got to remember it costs money to borrow money. So I think.
Yeah, it's a deal. And then, of course, the repairs. Be careful. Those are additional costs you need to be thinking about.
Be expensive.
And the size of your home, sometimes your efficiency of your home, your utilities are up or down depending on, which is a great idea to call and check your utilities before you buy.
Definitely. But again, then I'm always like, but you have no idea what they kept theirs at. They might have kept theirs like at 68 in the summer and at 70. I don't know what you keep. What normal people keep their heaters at?
We're like 70 year round.
Oh, yeah. I'm not normal. So anyway, okay. Just know that it may not be. Okay. This is the end. We did it.
Thanks for listening. It's Brian and Kindra Show. If you have any questions, give us a call. 580-334-2303.
And I'm Kindra Brown, 580-216-0090. And we will see you next time.
Yep.